I'm back.
Every time I walk out that door, every time I interact with anybody new, my purpose is to help change.
It's time to celebrate life. If you know that you're in charge of your life, it's time to stand up. If you know you want better for your life, it's time to stand up. If you know that you have what it takes to be in charge of your life, it's time to stand up. If you know that you are not just trying to be good for you, but for those around you, it's time to stand up. As a matter of fact, look to the person to your left and tell them you are enough.
I want to help you change, and just like you change, every time I interact with somebody, they help me change. It's no different than if I met an individual and they had 4 quarters and they need to change, or if I had $1 and they had 4 quarters, I need to change. We can swap the money. The value is still the same. They still got $1, I still got $1, but we both exchanged something, and it was a change for both of us. So every time I walk out that door, I inspire to help change lives just as much as lives have changed me.
Y'all been listening to the wrong people, watching the wrong things all your life, and it's time to put to rest all those negative thoughts, because you are enough. It's time to put to rest that self-doubt, because you are enough. It is time to get rid of that negative energy, because you are enough. It is time to stop listening to people that don't have the best interests of you in your life, because you are enough. So let's have a moment of silence. I want everybody to understand that you are the person that's in charge of your life. Everything that you have inside of you to be who you're supposed to be in life. You have a destiny, and that destiny can only be accomplished through you, by you, and only you, with the help of God. When you realize that you are the person you are, because you're not a carbon copy, there's only one you. They try to put you in a box. Society tries to put you in a box, but you can't be in a box. How can you be in a box when there's only one you? But then they tell you, think outside the box. What I'm trying to get you to understand is there is no box.
I want to pass on the things that I have to the generations behind me. By the time it's time for me to get called home and go to the grave, I want to be empty. I believe in bankrupting the cemetery, so I can't take this knowledge with me, because the cemetery is already full of brilliant ideas and unwritten books and innovative ideas. I can't take this with me, so I'm trying to leave it all here as Billy Graham Jr. to the next generation so somebody else can carry it on. What it do, everybody, and welcome. Man, I've been waiting all week to get back to this day. And it's Thursday, we're finally here. It's timely showtime. And man, I have an individual today. He's amazing. Now, you always want to know, I need more information. How do I figure out about this? How do I learn about that? You need the information. And the individual that I'm bringing you on today and letting you meet, he's not just a regular individual. He's all about getting you the information. This man has magazines, multiple podcasts, multiple shows. He's on different networks. He's doing everything he can to get you the information. So it was only right that we had him on the show so he can tell you not just how to get the information, tell you where to find the information and how that information might change your life. Now, I'm not going to hold you up anymore. I'm going to bring them to you, because who can say it best? Who can do it better than him? So I have to introduce you to the world, to the show, Mr. Reggie Kearney.
Good evening. Good evening, my man.
How you doing, good sir?
I'm doing fine. Thank you for that introduction, but take the mist off, okay? Reggie is fine, okay?
I can't take it off. It's impossible. For one, how I was raised, I have to leave it on. For two, you could have been 4 years old. I'm still gonna say Mr. Everybody is a Mr. Everybody's a Miss. You gonna get the pronoun because that's how I was raised. And two, How can we not call you Mister? You are the man. You're doing stuff that only some of us wish we could do. And you do it all so effortlessly.
Well, everyone can do it, okay? Everyone can do it. You just gotta have a commitment to do it. I mean, you just gotta be committed to it, because it can wear you thin. You have to be able to balance everything from your family to your job to your love for what you want to do. It's all about balancing it. But like I said, please be committed. You can't get started one day and the next day you say, okay, I can't do this no more. Once you're in it, you're in it.
I couldn't have said that any better. You say once you're in, you're in. Now, I know that you hail from North Carolina and that you currently reside in the Maryland area, but you say once you're in, you're in. Can you please tell us all who Mr. Reggie Kearney is, so we can understand where that commitment came from that got you from where you were to where you are now? Who are you? Tell the people who you are.
When it comes to who I am, that's because of my parents, okay? That's just the bottom line of it. My father was a community activist in North Carolina, in the small town that we lived in. Everybody in the community came to him for everything. They needed taxes done, they come to my father. They needed to get out of jail, they come to my father. They needed a funeral preached, they come to my father. And he was just committed, okay? He just stayed out there on the battlefield and did what he was supposed to do. And my mother, she was very supportive of him. And that's where I've gotten my drive from, to be successful, to attempt to be successful, okay? To attempt, to be successful, so it's been all about, family and what the family has done. Here in Maryland, I'm involved in a lot of stuff, okay? I'm not even going to start naming it, because for me, I do what I do because I love doing what I do. All right.
Yeah.
So it doesn't mean a whole lot to me to do it because I have that love for it. So a lot of times people don't know what I'm doing. Some people know what I do. Some people don't, but that's how I keep it. Because I'm a humble person, and that's just the bottom line of it. I mean, I could tell you some more stuff I was doing, but I didn't tell you all of it today.
Well, don't hold back now. Don't hold back now.
Your boy probably knows, but it's all about loving it, and trying to bring something to the people. What I do, I want it to be reflective of me, and I want people to be able to learn from it, and I want people to be able to gain something from it. So I live in Maryland, about 25 miles south of Washington, D.C., married, grown kids, 4 grandchildren. Like I told you earlier today, my son, I have a connection to your area, Houston.
Yeah.
My son lives out in Missouri, Texas. So I'm down there, quite a bit. I only come down there not for the grandchildren a lot of times, but for the restaurants. I enjoy the restaurants. I enjoy the food. So they give me a good excuse for my wife and my daughter and I to come down to Houston. So let me see what else. Well, okay, I do have how many shows I have? 1, 2, 4 shows. I do 2 on one net where I do a Urban Sentinel Live is a show that's an offshoot of my magazine, Urban Sentinel.
Okay.
I also do a political show. I have a daily devotional show that's basically uploaded, and that show runs the whole week. And then I have a show that I do at 1:30 a.m. on Saturday mornings on the Now Network.
Whoa. Okay. Hold on. So let's go back because you threw a lot at everybody, and I can't let it be remiss. You first said, because one of the things you said was that you're humble. And you said about how your father was an activist and your mother was one of the biggest supporters. And I want everybody to catch what he said. Like, I don't care what you do. You can't do anything alone. You have to have a support system. And you were raised in an environment that it was a great support system, and your father was showing you not just how to be a regular person that complains about situations, because many people complain about stuff and do nothing about it. You were raised in an environment where your father was going out there doing what he could to help others. Now, I started by saying you're in the information business, about getting the information out there. But last time I checked, that's what an activist does. They get the information out there and show you ways to not just help better yourself, but to help others as well. So you were raised in the environment that taught you how to do this, and you had no reason but to follow, because that's who you are. And I want people to understand that the environment you were raised in plays a big part of who you become. Now, don't get me wrong. Everybody's not raised in the perfect environment. None of us are perfect. Everything's not always flowers and roses, but you can make the best out of that. It was something that I learned from a mentor a long time ago. Be the person you wish you would have had when you were at your lowest. So if you're raised in an environment that might not be that conducive, become the person that you wish you would have had back then. That's the exact same thing that Mr. Kearney did. He became the person that he saw emulated from his mother and father. Not only does he support you with all these different things, but he also is an activist in his own right, giving you the information you need. Now, when you said you have multiple shows, we got to go break these things down, because I don't even know how you find time to do all of these things. So you have a show, you said one that's a daily show. Can you please explain that daily show to us so we can understand that one better?
Okay. The name of the show, I do a show Monday morning at 6 o'clock and through Saturday morning. Okay. Monday through Saturday, 6 o'clock on a DMV Gospel Network. Okay. It's a computer driven internet radio station. And the name of that show is A Word for Today, where I do some gospel songs and I give them a message, okay? Because I'm also an ordained minister, okay? Now.
Oh, right. Okay, go ahead. We'll come back to that.
No, pushing that out the way, okay? That's why I do that show, okay? Then on Monday nights, I do Urban Sentinel Live. And based on Urban Sentinel Live, what we're doing, we're interviewing people who have been in the magazine, or I anticipate on having in the magazine. We try to do a variety of people, interview a variety of people, such as entertainers, your next door neighbor, the everyday Joe, because everyone has a story, okay? And I like getting those stories out. Then on Tuesday night, have another show that I co-host, Real World News TV, which is more of a talk show that deals with politics and today's issues.
Okay.
Then on Saturday morning at 1:30 a.m. in the Scene Around the World, I do a devotional show. That's called A Word for Today, because that's a TV version, okay? And basically, I bring whatever God lays on my heart, I just bring it to the people. That's it. I just bring it to the people.
So you wrap it all the way around. You not only give the people what they need in the faith and all that, you also give them what they need in worldly views, and then you give them what they need in your perspective of your opinion, what you see going on, not just in the world, but everyday life. So no matter which way they go or which way they turn, you're giving them information on multiple different platforms on multiple different subjects. Now, with that being said, how do they find out how to even watch or listen to these shows? Can they watch them, or is it only listening to them?
Well, the show on the NAN Network, if you're here in America, if you're at 1:30 in the morning, a.m., you can go to nantv.org, I believe it is, or you can download the app and you can watch the show. Okay. Wow. If you're up at 6 o'clock in the morning, Eastern Standard Time, for A Word for the Day, the podcast type show that comes on every day, Monday through Saturday at 6 o'clock, you can go to DMV Gospel Network TV and look that up. And then if you want to see Urban Sentinel Live, you can come to my Facebook page, Urban Sentinel Live, like the page, and on Monday nights at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time, you can view that show. And if you're interested in Real World News TV, you can go to Real World News TV on Facebook, to that page and like that page, and you'll be able to get into that show.
So what made, because you named those times, and like you said, if you're up at 1:30 in the morning, what made you pick those time slots?
Okay, the 1:30 in the morning was cheaper. Okay, that is why. That is why it was cheaper. And you got to realize on the Now Network, because it's a worldwide, has a worldwide viewing audience.
Okay.
It might be 1:30 in the morning here on the East Coast, but it might be 1:30 in the afternoon in Kenya. Okay,
that is
or 3
true.
or 4:30. So I might be catching a diverse audience that's on the other side of the ocean.
I never thought about that.
If they understand English, then they get in the word. So I mean, when I look at the numbers, and we were talking about this earlier offline, there are concurrent numbers based on people using their laptops and their iPads and the computers. So the network can see what those numbers are, and those numbers are great numbers. So I know I'm reaching someone. Are they watching? I just don't know if they're watching the whole 30 minutes of the show, or they're watching a few minutes, or is the message resounding? One of the things I do in my captions, I put my email address, and I ask them if they need prayer, anything like that. They can email me. I haven't gotten any emails yet, so I don't know exactly what's happening on those, with that show. On the other show, on the podcast type show that I do, the devotion that I do every morning on DMV Gospel Network, her analytics, she's able to break down her analytics to see how many people are watching at 6:00 in the morning, because she gets gets different information from different platforms that lets her know how many people are watching in the morning. And then with Facebook Live, the Facebook Live shows, I can see how many views I get. Then Tony Breedlove, who's a producer, and she runs HTTR Network, she gets more reports in too from the different platforms that she can really tell and break and go dig into those numbers and see how many people are actually. I'm happy with the numbers. I know I'm not going to build Rome in a day, but as long as I'm reaching someone, that's what my purpose is.
Oh, I like how you put that, because on this show we're all about helping people find their purpose. And you said, long as you reach somebody, and I want everybody to understand what was just said. Not only just reach his purpose, in many situations right now, he's going out there on blind faith. He has no idea who's watching it. He doesn't know the analytics for every single situation. The time change and the time that he does certain shows, people are watching around the world and he has no idea who they are. But blind faith is out there trying to reach the one person. And I want you to understand, because it might be you that's watching this show right now. You are the one individual that we're trying to connect with. It's not going to touch everybody. Everybody has a different message for everybody. Everybody receives things differently. But it's that one person, that one individual that you can change their life with your message or whatever service you might provide. But it only can happen if you take the first step and try to do what you can to get that information out there. And Mr. Reggie's not just doing it on one platform. He's doing it on multiple platforms. And just because we want to understand better how to do it on multiple platforms, and I want the viewers to take something out of it, can you please explain to us, how do you even get connected or get involved with somebody like the Now Network?
Well, basically, I saw an ad and I called. I like what I heard. I had been looking at networks because, like I said, I am an ordained minister, and I don't have a real strong desire to, say, be behind the pulpit every Sunday, okay? But I do have a desire to put a message out there.
Yes.
Okay, to do ministry work. So my thinking was, if I can do a show, I'm not trying to be TD Jakes or any of those guys. I'm just being me, okay? I say, look, I'm not in it for the money or anything like that. If I can bring a message, that's what I wanted to do. Okay, because you don't have to be you don't have to be in the pulpit or have a large church or a small church or have a membership to bring information to people, to bring the word to the people. Okay, you just have to have a desire. And it had been something that was on my heart that God had led me to for many years. And I said, I'll do it. So I saw the ad. I called. It sounded great. They had a time slot, that I was happy with, because the cost factor, and you got to look at whatever you're doing, there's a cost to it. So you got to do, you got to analyze the cost because you don't want to get out there and try to do something uh, grand and a couple of weeks later, you out of it because you don't have the money to support it.
Exactly.
So you have to watch your cost. So, and that's what I was doing, and the rest is history.
When you say there's a cost, because we all know I want everybody to understand that for you to do anything in life, it costs something. For you to try to get ahead, it's gonna cost something. It might be financial, it might be time, but it's gonna cost you something. And you said the cost earlier when you said the 130 because it was cheaper. And you don't have to go into the minute details of everything, but can you explain to us how the cost works for even, because obviously we want to know we know we got to put out money, but I'm going to reel back in, but how do you make money? Because you put this cost out there. So what is the normal cost or roundabout cost to even get involved with a network? And how do you find out how to get money back? Because we want to make money as well, not just keep giving it out of our pocket. Mm-hmm. So how does that cost thing work with the giving to get onto the network or something like that? And how do you find a way to get money to put money back in your pocket?
The biggest thing is identifying sponsors. And that's just the bottom line. You need to identify people that will support your vision.
Okay.
Whether it be $5 or $10, or you might come across a person that likes your show, believes in your vision, and they're willing to pay the whole year.
Wow.
And I'll be honest with you, when I got started on with the show on the net network, one of my college buddies, he bought my camera for me.
Oh, wow.
He believed in my vision. We were just talking, and I told him I was getting ready to, what I was getting ready to do, what I was thinking about doing. He said, Kearney, how much gonna cost? What you need? I said, I'm getting ready to order me a camera. He said, how much is it? He cashed out me the money.
Oh, wow.
For it. So that's one of the ways you can really get yourself going, is to find people that believe in your vision, that see your vision, that can see down the road where it might lead to, and they understand your passion for doing something that might invest in. You might find a mother who's cooking out her kitchen, making candles or something like that, but she needs to have advertising, small nominal fee. Many people, small dollars can take care of your finances. You don't have to go out looking for McDonald's to come do it and they can have a big checkbook. There are enough people out here that have visions of what they're doing that need advertising, that would be sponsors. You might have to shop for multiple sponsors, and that's how you do it. And then you're going to put some money out your pocket too, okay? You can't get away without putting in some of your money. So one of the things I'm doing then, because I'm trying to build a brand, is to look for sponsors, whether it be companies, organizations, or individuals that I can, show them my vision, my passion, and move things down the road.
Wow. So you heard it. You got to have sponsors is important. And it's not about the amount, like it could be anybody that's going to help you out, but also the marketing of building your brand and helping others build their brand. Remember, I told y'all many shows back, you show me your network, I'll show you your net worth. And you got to have people in your circle. And sometimes those people might not be a part of your circle, but if you network just right, you can bring in certain individuals that need your help just as much as you need theirs. And they will provide monetary value to help network themselves, because it's all about building a brand, whether it's your brand or you're helping somebody else's build a brand. And that's how you get things done. And that's how you get on that network. But I have one question that it's just been drilling in the back of my mind. That I understand how we get to the Now Network. You see an opportunity, and I tell everybody all the time, when you see an opportunity, especially if it's best for you, your brand, and something that's going to take off for you, to jump on it. No opportunity wasted. But there are also this thing that we talk about, you mentioned it earlier, about the podcast. With so many different platforms so many different ways you have to pay for stuff, because we not talked about it. You got to pay. Money has to come out your pocket. How do you even know which one is the best platform for you? Because there's so many out there. I see so many. I'm pretty sure everybody else will. And I'm sure a lot of people that holds us back, because you know how it is when it's an overwhelming, it just comes up with, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. And it just makes us stop and not do what we should do by going forward. How do you even break down which podcast platform is best for you?
Well, and your director, your producer probably tell you the same thing. Everything I noticed and I figured this out feeds into YouTube, okay?
Yep.
You can take everything and feed it into YouTube. And YouTube is the ultimate platform. It's just, it depends on how you use YouTube, okay? All of my shows are on YouTube, okay? Real World News TV and my Urban Central Live show, it's on YouTube. I think what you got to do next is figure out how to get people to drive the people to YouTube, away from your show or doing your show, driving people to YouTube, okay? And that's the $1 million question right there, is driving people to YouTube, because YouTube is the biggest platform out there now.
Yep.
You know, everything goes through YouTube.
True.
You know, so if you can build your base and on YouTube, you got a good thing going. You know, and I really haven't looked at the YouTube numbers. I mean, I pay more attention to the Facebook Live numbers than I do to the YouTube numbers. But and one reason I don't, because there are so many shows on YouTube. Okay,
yeah.
let's be honest. Everyone now is developing a podcast or a TV show that's on YouTube. You know, I feel like with the shows I participate in, with Real World News TV, Cheryl and I bring a different perspective of what's going on today.
Yeah.
Like the show this past Tuesday night was entitled, "Have We Reached the Mountaintop?" And and what we were talking about with the appointment or the confirmation of Justice Jackson, have we gotten there? Are we halfway up the mountain? What's keeping us from getting up to the top of the mountain? The obstacles and things of that nature. Where are we now as a Black community? Where are we now? And on my Urban Central Live show, I have a friend who's a very knowledgeable friend, Dr. Doolin. Him and I discussed the Ketanji Brown Jackson confirmation also, but in a different perspective. So what you got to do, you got to develop shows that will set you apart,
okay,
from the other group of people. Because, like I said, everybody has a comment. Everybody has their own view of what's going on in the world. Okay.
True.
And what you're trying to do is do your own little part of broadcasting something or talking to people to reach that one person, if that's all you're going to reach. Okay. So, numbers are good, but if you into the business for numbers, you're not going to make it.
Exactly.
Because you're going to get disappointed. Okay. Now, what I do, I'll be honest, what I do on my shows, the ones I can stream on Facebook Live and YouTube, I just repeat them in my social media during the week to build numbers.
Okay.
Because some nights I might get 3 people might view the show, but if I run that show a number of times, I can bring that number to 500, 600, 700,000 people if I run it constantly during the week. Because everyone isn't available at the time you want them to be available.
Exactly.
So you bring the show back again at different times on your social media. And you might catch somebody's eye. They might look at the title and say, oh, this is something I like. Let me look at it. So you start building your audience.
So you say you run it multiple times. Can you please explain what that actually entails? Because we hear so many things about people saying Facebook marketing, boosting, and we talked about YouTube being the #1 platform, and you're building your brand, you're building your audience. What does it mean to rerun it multiple times throughout your different social media feeds?
Now, for me, I don't believe in boosting because boosting you got to pay for. Okay,
Yes, that's why. That's why I asked the question.
you got to pay for boosting, but you can share. You can copy the link and share it on your social media and different social media platforms as much as you want to. That's free.
That is true.
That's free. Now YouTube is going to be a whole different monster because you feeding doing your live show, you're feeding into YouTube. Okay, so what you might have to do is invest in the YouTube TV, which I'm thinking about doing, which might be a good thing to do. And you can post your show. It's already pre-recorded, so you can take that and put it into your YouTube. Or what you can do, since you're already feeding into YouTube, tell people through your social media to go to YouTube and watch that show. But you got to play with it a lot. You got to devote a lot of time to social media.
Yes.
Okay. Again, it's free. Okay. Even your YouTube doesn't charge you for a fee to get into it and for your show to end up in their archives. They don't charge you for it. So you just tell people, hey, go to YouTube, look up my show. It's there. And you can build those numbers that way too. So a lot of things you don't have to pay for. You just got to be willing to sit down and do the work, do the social media work.
So I'm loving that not have to pay for it because we're all about keeping that money in our pocket, keeping it with our family. But you said about how YouTube, and you're right, there's so many shows on YouTube. There's so many. And what are the way, because you say everything feeds back into YouTube, do you have any suggestions outside? Because I'm going to have to look into YouTube TV because unless you know more about it that you can elaborate on. But what would you ask somebody to do about YouTube? Would it be better to just drive everybody to YouTube? But how do you make your show try to kind of stand out different than everybody else's?
It's all about topics. It's all about what you're discussing. It's all about your guests. Okay. What's a good example? Okay, it's one guy I like. I can't think of his name now. He's on YouTube. His topics, based on, say, issues that are happening in the Christian religious community, where pastors, okay, let's be for real, are constantly falling. Okay, so if you ever want to view YouTube that's really talking about issues and how we as a church we got to do better, his show, and he doesn't go at the pastor, he doesn't try to tear the person down, nothing like that. He just brings us another perspective to what they've done.
Okay.
And how we in the church got to watch out for what's happening, how even pastors or ministers need to watch themselves and how they do things. Okay, that's a different perspective. Okay, no one else has a show on there. Okay, like that. Like I said, when it comes to my show, I'm not going to hoop and holler and say we got to hang this person, do that person, and that. But I'm going to bring a perspective from a different viewpoint on why and how we need to handle certain things in the Black community when it comes to civil rights.
Okay, yep.
And what we have to do. So you have to find your own niche. You can't go clone somebody else's show. Okay, you got to make it interesting for that person or the group of people to come to you and say, I hadn't thought about that angle or that perspective or what he's talking about. So I have a new perspective. You want to give them something else to think about. Because I'm not going to try to compete with the Breakfast Club. I'm not going to try to compete with Charlamagne the God, okay? He has a different perspective. His perspective can at times be, I love him, man, because his perspective is a little radical at times, and we need that in our community. We need somebody to say the things sometimes we might not say.
Exactly.
But why should I develop a show like Charlamagne the God when it's already out there? Okay?
True.
Come from my perspective. And look, I ain't bragging on myself, nothing like that. But I think at my age, I'm knowledgeable on a lot of different things because I've been through a lot. I've looked at a lot. I challenged a lot. I work in the community. I see stuff. So I can bring a different, fresh perspective to something, to a show. So it's all about separating yourself from the masses and standing there by yourself.
That is true.
You know, because if people start watching you, they say, "Oh man, I heard this on another guy talking about the same thing." That's it. You finish because they're gonna turn you off.
That is true.
Yeah, but if you come to them with a stimulating intellectual conversation that they can understand, and they haven't heard that particular angle, then they say, "Okay, I can get with that. Let me hear what he got to say." You know, and then they might share it. Ask people when you're doing your shows to share the show.
Okay.
You know, if you like my show, please share it with your friends.
That's a good perspective of looking at it, especially when you, because it made more sense, especially when you broke it down from different people and showed how their niche works. Because I know me and I got the older kid. Everybody knows my oldest, and he's into YouTube. He does his own videos, and I watch his videos, and I watch other people because I'm trying to figure out the analytics and all that. And I watch one of the big things that I see right now, like those reaction videos where people show you something and they give their reaction. And like you said, when you said about Charlemagne, he gives his perspective. In every one of those reaction videos, they have thousands on thousands of followers, and people are always watching it, thousands of views, but they are all giving their own perspective. I was just talking to my wife about it. I'm like, especially after the Will Smith thing incident, it was like stuff just kept popping up. I'm like, how much are we gonna watch this? But they all had thousands of views. And why? Because that person's perspective resonated with a different group of audience than others. So Mr. Reggie was correct. You do not need to duplicate anything. Give your perspective. Tell him what you have to say. He has multiple shows and he's trying to teach you this. Tell what you have to say because it's going to resonate with a totally different audience. And that's how you start building your brand. And don't look at the numbers. He told you, start watching the numbers. He told us in the beginning, he doesn't even know the numbers. It's all about resonating with that one person. But guess what? In a world that's full of billions of people, over time, you're going to get more than one person. But you have to be persistent and walk with that faith to know that somebody's going to gain that traction and it's going to build the followers. Because those same people, like he said, like a Charlemagne, he probably started with 1, 2, 3 followers. And over the years, notice I said years. I say that for a reason. Because we all want things to happen overnight. And that's the world we live in today that has put us in that mindset. The best way I can put it, my grandparents, like for example, my grandma and all that, they were raised in the crock pot and the stove days. Like when you're cooking food, put it in the crock pot or a stove, it took hours. It took a long time. They had to put it in sometimes at night, but most of the time in the morning before work, and it'll be ready when you get back. Then my generation came along and we got the microwave.
Microwave, yeah.
We were able to cook things a little faster. And we were like, screw that crock pot and screw that oven. I'm going to throw me a hot pocket in this oven. But now I get to watch my kids get raised in the Instapot age. Society has told us to speed things up. But when it comes to building a brand, there's no such thing as an Instapot brand. There's no such thing as a microwave brand. Whenever you're building, now don't get me wrong, it's onesie twosies that get lucky and they take off. But for the majority, we live when it comes to branding and building a brand and getting followers, it's the crock pot oven. It's going to take time. It takes time. Like you said, Charlemagne, he took time. You think of any big name person you think about, it took them time to get where they are now. But all they did was start with putting it out on that faith to go after that one person. And it built over time. So speaking on the subject of faith, because you said, you're ordained minister and you don't really just want to stay behind the pulpit. What can you explain? Like we understand the networks and the podcast. What drove you to become an ordained minister?
Well, I had a good example again in my father. Okay. Yes. But it was a calling. Okay. That's basically what it was. It was a calling. You know, I had a calling that I felt like God was leading me in a certain direction in my life. And eventually when I decided to start running, I went into that direction. You know, took me a while to get there, but I did it, you know. I did it.
Now, I don't let nuggets make it past me. And you just dropped the one. I never even really thought about it and put it in perspective, and I'm pretty sure somebody else out there didn't either. But when you just said it was a calling, I think about every pastor that I've ever met in my life, or even just heard. They all say the same thing. It was a calling. I say that because there's a calling on everybody's life.
Mm-hmm.
It just isn't called pastor. Your calling might be chef. Your calling might be musician. Your calling might be news anchor or podcaster or on their own network. Like, your calling is different, but so many people, and I myself included, it took me years. I was getting the calling, but I never answered the phone. I see the meme go around one time that said had a phone and it said, God calling, would you answer? Everybody's like, yes, 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 I would answer if God calls. He's been calling a lot of us a long time, and ain't none of us picked up the phone.
Yeah.
And we wonder why we're sitting here in the situation we are. You're not answering the phone call to get the advice in the direction that needs to go in your life. But every pastor says, I got the calling, and they went that direction. Now, Mr. Kirby, he said it already. He didn't want to just sit behind the pulpit. He had other parts. Your calling can go different ways, and that's why he's on different podcasts and different networks. But you alluded to something, and I've been waiting to talk about this. Part of that calling was when you made a magazine. And then on top of that, part of that magazine became a podcast. You branched off in two different directions to meet two different audiences because you understood everybody doesn't want to read the information, but some people want to listen. And some people don't want to listen. They prefer to read. So you went both directions. Can you please explain, one, what made you come up with the name of the magazine? And two, how did you figure out that that's the direction you wanted the magazine to go? Just not just on print, but also in podcast form.
Well, previous years, probably going back to the early 2000s, I had a newspaper, okay? And that developed my passion for, print media, okay? But I saw that print media was something that was going to die pretty much, and I was going to lose a lot of money. So then I ended up with a platform having a website a news website. So then I missed having a magazine, but at the same time, I saw that a magazine could be developed on a platform. And so I said, oh, okay, this is cheaper. I can use this platform to have an online magazine, okay, kind of scale back on the website and develop a smaller website and have multiple articles in a magazine, just like a newspaper, but it's online, the platform.
Oh, wow.
The biggest obstacle there is trying to get people to buy the magazine online, okay? That's the biggest obstacle. So in that, with doing that, you really have to develop your sponsors or be able to sell ads or do things like that. If not, you really come up with self-funded. You are really going to self-fund that. Okay. So when it came to the podcast, I thought about it. I said, now I can branch this out and still get more bang for my dollar by developing a 30-minute show, which just hits a couple of topics that some people might like and roll like that. And that's what I did. And that's, basically with Raven. I know you've seen Raven's show on my channel.
Yes.
Mental health is very important to me in this day and time. It's something that's affecting our community, and we really need to be on top of it. So if you notice, with Raven, we just do a snippet of something that's going on that pertains to your mental health and needs to be taken care of.
Oh, wow.
And that's what we focus on. It's only 30 minutes, so let's focus on this particular topic tonight because there's somebody out there that might need it, Okay, it might be that one person, might be 100 people, but it might be someone that needs it. So I just looked at it as being a need. Like you said, some people want to read, some people want to listen. And I think that's why podcasts are doing so well at this time, whether it be a live podcast or, audio podcast. People are really buying into podcasts. I mean, if you talk to the average person, I bet the average person has at least 2 or 3 podcasts that they listen to on a regular basis.
I'm
because
one
of
of
the
them.
elevation. Now, for you and I, it might be different because we are out trying to motivate people and promote stuff. We might have a multiple range of podcasts we listen to just to grab some ideas. Okay, and I do. I have a multiple list of podcasts that I might not listen to the whole podcast. I might just listen, to grab some quick nuggets that I can probably use. Okay, later on, so that was the approach for doing the Urban Central magazine and Urban Central live show.
So you just gave us some information there, and I got to go back and sponge on it.
Mm-hmm.
For one, how you just said, like, we listen to multiple podcasts, listen to multiple things, social media, different things, because it helps us understand and develop in our niche. And if you have something that you're great at, your purpose, your gift, and that's something that you want to do, especially if it aligns with your brand, you have to go out there and listen to, read about, study the people that are already doing what's aligned. Not that you're trying to copy them, not that you're trying to duplicate what they're doing, but you get a better understanding of what the people want.
Mm-hmm.
If they're doing so good and everybody's following them, everybody's trying to eat their food, everybody's listening to their podcast, everybody's spending money with their clothing brand, whatever it may be, you have to go look, because not that they're necessarily in competition in a negative way, but that's your competition. The people are telling you what you want, what they want. And last time I checked, people don't just buy stuff because you want them to buy it. It has to be something that appeals to them, something that they have to have a need for or want for. And they are telling you what that is. So that's part of that studying your competitors. And you need to study your competitors, especially when you're trying to build a brand. Are you just going to be walking out there trying to recreate a wheel that's already recreated? But I liked how you said the online magazine, because at first, I'm not going to lie, I was like most people, when you think magazine, you think print. How does somebody even go about starting an online magazine? Because most of us just hear magazine, think paper, something that you get a subscription for, shows up in the mail, and you said people don't want to pay for the online magazine. How do you even get that started? And I understand sponsors paying for certain things, but how do you try to get people to pay for the online magazine, especially with YouTube, like we talked about, a platform that has so much information, so many people putting stuff out? How do you get them to drive to come to buy your online magazine? And how do you even create an online magazine?
Well, I think to get them to buy, you got to have articles that they can relate to, okay? Articles they can relate to. Now, my next magazine coming out, and I can't even think of his last name now. He, as you know, Black News Channel went out of business. But one of the anchors on there is the cover for the next magazine, Kelly.
Okay.
And we're not going to talk to Kelly. We didn't interview Kelly to talk about what was going on in his life as far as Black News Channel. Kelly also sings, but Kelly has a story. Lord have mercy. He has a story of growing up that's going to touch the hearts of everyone. Okay. So that's one of the things you have to do. You have to make connections with people in the industry where you can PR people that you can get these great articles. Okay. Because what I try to do, my cover is of someone who's out there. Okay.
Yeah.
We've had multiple. I've next time I run into Lord have mercy. She gonna kill me for forgetting her last name. Tamarin. Okay. I'm gonna get her because I was looking at her show one day and she said, "Well, I haven't had a magazine interview since this." But she had a magazine interview after that. Tamron Hall. She had a magazine interview after which she said last time she had an interview. I think she forgot about my magazine. Okay. So, I've had people like Tamron Hall. Then I've had people that Josh Proby out of Charlotte, North Carolina, who's an activist that people don't know, but he has a great story. So you got to try to balance your stories, your main stories, okay? And then inside the magazine, and I still got to get you in there. And, I have articles on people who are out here making a difference. Okay, you might not hear their names called every day. Okay, through the TVs and the radios and the social media, but they're making a difference because they have a vision on how they can help people.
Yes.
And it could be your next door neighbor. It could be the UPS driver. And they have a story. That story's not getting told because Life Magazine, the Ebony, and all those guys, they want They want the celebrity story.
Exactly.
And I just took a different approach. I don't want all the celebrities. Yeah, I want a celebrity on the front to get you into the magazine, to read the magazine. You know, then you need to have some quality writers, okay? You know, and that's what you need to have visions. And the people who write for me, they say, what you want? Give me what you got. Okay? I don't tell them what I want and what I'm looking for each magazine. I want an article. You know, and so I just let it flow like that. You know. And then, like I said, so then I might have somebody like Kelly. Once we do his magazine, I'll drop the magazine with his article, and I know it's going to pick up a lot of people. They're going to read the article. They're going to say, what? Then I'll probably bring him on the show to discuss it even further for another 30 minutes. Just let him talk, and we talk about it.
Yes.
You know. And then when I finally get an article from you, you're going to be on coaching, and how do you get to the next level in your life? You know, how do you get there?
I'm definitely gonna have to get you that. I can do that.
Yeah. So you got to have a vision. You know, you just can't. Everyone can't do a magazine, but if you're going to do it, you got to have a vision of how you want to do it. You got to have a vision of the articles that you want to put in it. Now, everybody who reads my magazine says I have a great layout. You know, I do a great job with the articles and things of that nature. But they don't know it's hard trying to find articles every month and trying to find people to be on your cover and stuff.
So based on what you're saying, and I want to make sure we capture this because, like you said, everybody has a story, and that story got this. And people have powerful stories, but like you said, we only hear the stories from the celebrities. And I'm one of those people. I can't lie. I like to hear from the people that aren't celebrities because celebrities, they give you all the nice stuff. I want to go deep. I want to know what you went through, what took you to get there, because that's what resonates with me. I know everything's not perfect, and you find individuals not that just have a story, but the story helps others, and that's what drives people to what you provide. And I wanted everybody to understand that, because whatever product, service, whatever it is that you're out there trying to sell, whatever you're trying to do in life, people need to hear your story because they have to connect with you, because that's what makes them follow you. That's what makes them buy from you. That's what makes it build your brand. Remember, we talked about it earlier with YouTube being one of the biggest platforms. People are following certain people because they resonate with those individuals. They resonate with the message that they're giving them. They make them think. They provide something that they can't normally get themselves. And so you must be able to do that, whether you're starting a magazine, a podcast, selling clothes, food, whatever it is. People have to resonate with what you're doing. Yeah. And that's how you build a brand, no matter which way you try to put it. Now, I know I do this to everybody. So I have to ask you, because with all the things that you do, the way you juggle so much, and you got so many things going on to just get information to people, what is some nugget that you can drop and give to the people to not just help them find ways to use their gift, use their purpose to help others, but how do you keep them motivated so that they can keep going? Because remember, this doesn't happen overnight. This is a crock pot oven situation. It's going to take time. So what kind of information would you tell them to not just keep going, but to stay true to who they are and have that same faith?
One nugget I left out, I'm going to say this very quickly. You got to have your family behind you, whatever you do, okay? If you're married, you got to have your wife behind you, you got to have kids behind you, your grandchildren, everybody else, okay? Now, you need to have a vision board of what you want to do, or you got to have a mental vision board of what you want to do, okay? You got to set goals for yourself, okay? You know, I would love to wake up one morning and somebody from NBC calls me and say, I got this big contract, we want you to do this show, okay? You know, I would love to do that. Set that as your goal, okay? Because a lot of people don't realize contributors to a lot of these shows on MSNBC, CNN, and many different shows, they make six figures, okay?
Yeah.
You know, and you can develop yourself into a six-figure person, okay? You know, if you need someone, and I'm plugging you, If you need someone to coach you through what you need to go through and to develop your brand, get a coach. You know, you got a great coach here tonight, Billy Graham Jr. Grab him, tell him what you want to do, and let him coach you through what you want to do. You know, but like I said again, the biggest thing is be committed. It's a long haul commitment. It's not a short haul commitment. It's a long haul commitment. You know, I might not never see what I want to see as far as the vision of where I want my media aspirations to go. Okay. Remember, God told Moses, he looked over the mountaintop, he looked down into the valley and said, "You're not going across there. I'm gonna let you see it."
Exactly.
Okay. I see where I want to be, but I might not get there. But I'm hoping that I can give the nuggets to the young people coming up, into probably some middle-aged people, of where they can go with their lives. Okay. It doesn't have to be Xerox, AT&T, or any other company out there. You can develop yourself and develop your brand and develop your own company.
Exactly.
And go places. You might not never become rich. You might not never have Oprah money. You might not never have Bezos money, but you'll have something that you love doing and something that you enjoy and something that people respect and they want it. They want to listen to you.
You just nailed it and put the cap on it, because you finished it off, because you said earlier about being you. And so many people go out there trying to chase dreams and all that based on the vision of others. Chase your vision, because believe it or not, like you said, you may not make the millions, you might not become this next person, but when you fulfill your vision, you are going to become a own different type of success that you're looking for, that you didn't even know you were looking for. And all it takes for you to do one thing, he's been saying it all this show, is being committed. Because what you need to understand is the commitment is the foundation for success. I don't care what kind of success you want in life, whether it be money, your health, a stronger family, better with your finances, however it may be. All of those things take commitment, which is why commitment is the foundation for whatever type of success that you're looking for. Now, I'd be remiss if I just let you go, Mr. Reggie, before I even ask this, but how can the people keep in touch with you? Because you have a story, you have so much going on, and I know so many people want to follow and keep in touch with you. How can they do that?
Let me see. Gosh. You can hit me up on Twitter at 06 or 06 Alpha. This is my Twitter handle, 06 Alpha. You can hit me up on Instagram, Urban Sentinel. LinkedIn, you can hit me up by my name, Reggie Kearney. Excuse me, allergies, man. You can hit me up on LinkedIn by Reggie Kearney, or either Urban Sentinel on LinkedIn. Facebook is Urban Sentinel Live, and Reggie Kearney on Facebook.
Well, you heard it. That's how you get in touch with Mr. Reggie, because, hey, like he said, he might have threw a plug at me about a coach. But if you need anybody to get you in the direction, especially if you're talking about podcasting, starting an online magazine, hey, he doesn't want to be behind a pulpit, but he will give you some faith advice. If you need any of those things, you know how to get in touch with Mr. Reggie. Mm-hmm. Now, Mr. Reggie, don't go nowhere. I want to talk to you real quick after the show, but I do, on behalf of everybody else, want to say thank you for joining us tonight. Thank you for giving us the time. We really appreciate all the information and the nuggets that you dropped for us tonight. We want to say thank you.
You're welcome. I appreciate you having me on the show, man.
So, always, and we'll be sure to try to get you back on sooner when we find a way to break into that busy schedule of yours. But again, hold on, don't go nowhere. I want to talk to you after the show. But until then, good sir, I'll see you on the other side. Man, I hope you got the nuggets, because I know one thing about me. I try to take everybody that comes on the show, I pick a little bit apart, and I try to figure certain things out, because he said something about that podcast, and I'm really, really, really like I can do something with that, because like he said, somebody out there needs to hear your voice. And I'm not saying I'm the best. I'm not saying I'm the greatest. In my mind, I think I'm the best at everything I do, but I know my voice doesn't resonate with everybody. But I got some nuggets from Mr. Reggie tonight. And I'm looking like, I don't want to just wait till every Thursday to talk to you all. So that podcast thing is ringing real strong in my ear. I might be coming up with some things, but you'll be the first to know. Don't worry, I always let you know. But I know I appreciate and I hope you got the same information that I got from Mr. Reggie. And I hope it helps you and touches you in some type of way, because the man is amazing. Connect with him if you need any type of advice or if you need anything. But until next Thursday, I want to see y'all again. Thank y'all for tuning in. I can't wait to talk to y'all next week. I can't wait to bring the next guest up next week, because you're going to be shocked. You're going to be amazed. But until then, I want you to live in your purpose, with purpose, on purpose. See you next week.
I'm back.
Every time I walk out that door, every time I interact with anybody new, my purpose is to help change.
It's time to celebrate life. If you know that you're in charge of your life, it's time to stand up. If you know you want better for your life, it's time to stand up. If you know that you have what it takes to be in charge of your life, it's time to stand up. If you know that you are not just trying to be good for you, but for those around you, it's time to stand up. As a matter of fact, look to the person to your left and tell them you are enough.
I want to help you change, and just like you change, every time I interact with somebody, they help me change. It's no different than if I met an individual and they had 4 quarters and they needed change, or if I had $1 and they had 4 quarters, I need to change. We can swap the money. The value is still the same. They still got $1, I still got $1, but we both exchanged something, and it was a change for both of us. So every time I walk out that door, I inspire to help change lives just as much as lives have changed me.
Y'all been listening to the wrong people, watching the wrong things all your life, and it's time to put to rest all those negative thoughts, because you are enough. It's time to put to rest that self-doubt, because you are enough. It is time to get rid of that negative energy, because you are enough. It is time to stop listening to people that don't have the best interests of you in your life, because you are enough. So let's have a moment of silence. I want everybody to understand that you are the person that's in charge of your life. Everything that you have inside of you to be who you're supposed to be in life. You have a destiny, and that destiny can only be accomplished through you, by you, and only you, with the help of God. When you realize that you are the person you are, because you're not a carbon copy, there's only one you. They try to put you in a box. Society tries to put you in a box, but you can't be in a box. How can you be in a box when there's only one you? But then they tell you, think outside the box. What I'm trying to get you to understand is there is no box.
I want to pass on the things that I have to the generations behind me. By the time it's time for me to get called home and go to the grave, I want to be empty. I believe in bankrupting the cemetery, so I can't take this knowledge with me, because the cemetery is already full of brilliant ideas and unwritten books and innovative ideas. I can't take this with me, so I'm trying to leave it all here as Billy Graham Jr. to the next generation so somebody else can carry it on.